Hey everyone, Dale Hannigan here, your friendly neighborhood radiology recruiter. I hope you're having a good day. I wanted to just change things up a little bit. I know I've been posting a few jobs. Hopefully you'll take a look at those down below. But I wanted to talk about radiology compensation. Many of you know that we produce a radiology compensation review each year for the past 20 years. And we've seen some pretty remarkable changes, especially over the last 4 years with the COVID pandemic and people leaving the permanent job sector, moving to travel to try to capitalize on the money. And honestly, I mean, who can blame folks who are doing that? I mean, it's good for the industry. However, it did leave a pretty good gap in a lot of hospital departments. So kind of a perfect storm of people leaving due to the pandemic, not wanting to deal with that. You had people retiring early, not wanting to deal with that. Then you have others saying, hey, I'm going to go travel and try to put some money in the bank. So it's slowly recovering. This year we've seen a lot of changes, and I should say last year in 2023, where a lot of folks are finally coming off the roads and moving back into permanent jobs. So that's good for many organizations who are trying to hire full time. But I did want to address just a couple of things as it relates to wages versus quality of life and scheduling and all that, because we do surveys on LinkedIn about once a quarter, just to kind of get a feel for what's going on with technologists and sonographers out there. I mean, the average wage, I think, for rad techs last year from what we saw with our clients was about 30. On the high side, about $30 an hour, I think, maybe a little less than that on the high side, about 40. The mean, about close to 30. The high is about 40. New grads we're seeing are starting up anywhere between $23 and $25 an hour now, pretty much across the board. For CT is definitely the hottest thing going right now. We get more job requisitions for CT than we do any other any radiology modality. And again, if you haven't looked at those things, there's a link to our radiology compensation review below. But CT, I think the average mean was about 43 and the high was around 50. MR, I think the low was about 32. The mean was about 46, 47, and the high was about 55 an hour. Now, I know a lot of you who may be watching this are on the far west coast in California, Seattle, far east coast, where wages are higher. But I can guarantee you that, nationally, that is not the case. We are seeing, I mean, you can definitely look at California and see that they pay the highest, but again, they also typically have the highest cost of living other than Hawaii. I mean, California is number 2. You can look up the statistics everywhere. The average home price, according to Zillow, for the average sold home in California was about $780 something thousand dollars, versus Texas the average was $307. So it doesn't take a mathematician to figure out, well, if your mortgage goes from $5,000 a month in California to $2,000 a month in Texas, or just about anywhere else in the United States, probably I would say at least 40 of the 50 states have a reasonable cost of living out there in some areas, then you don't need to make $65 an hour in California. So a lot of people boast about that in California. They say, hey, well, I can't believe anybody would take $45 an hour. Well, the fact of the matter is you can do the math. So don't expect to get California wages if you move to Texas or Missouri or North Dakota or Florida or any of those places. So I did want to mention that. But secondly, when we post our jobs, we get a lot of people saying, hey, what does it pay? To me, and I'm going to piss a lot of people off by saying this, but that's the dumbest question that you can ask a recruiter or an employer as your first question, or even the second question or the third question, okay? If the job sucks, it doesn't matter what it pays, you're not going to take it anyway. I mean, I had a gentleman say the other day, it was a CT supervisor job that was paying about $52 an hour on average. And he comes back to tell me that job should be paying $65 an hour. Based upon what is my question? Based upon what you're being paid, based upon where you are in the country, based upon what your friendly neighborhood travel techs are telling you that they are making. If you're on call all the time, your director of imaging that you report to is is terrible. You know, he's never there. If you're short-staffed, if you're doing things that go far beyond what your scope should be, it doesn't matter. You don't want that job anyway. I mean, you should be asking about quality of life. We did a poll on LinkedIn late last year, and that is the number one thing that people are looking for. They're looking for quality schedule. They're looking for time off. They're looking for less call. I mean, pay is kind of down the rung. Now, we all know pay is important, but again, what are the other factors? It doesn't matter, again, what it pays if the job is crap. So I just want to put that out there to a lot of the technologists who come in with guns blazing about what it pays and think they should be paid top dollar. No, you shouldn't be paid top dollar if you've got 3 years of experience. Okay? I don't care what the travel techs in your department are telling you that they are making. That's great. I'm glad that they're making that money. But that doesn't mean that you should be paid that. You should be paid accordingly based upon the area and the modalities and the years of experience that you have. Now, we've been trying to push for multimodality premiums for a lot of our people. It hasn't quite caught on yet, but I mean, if you've got somebody who's CT, X-ray, and MRI certified and they're coming in for a CT job and they've got the other credentials versus somebody else who just has a CT and X-ray credentials and maybe an associate's degree, but this person has a bachelor's degree as well, then there should be a premium, in our opinion, for that, and we will push for that. But again, it's slow to catch on. So I just want to say that while compensation is important, look at the other factors with the job first, because again, and I'll say it for the third time, it doesn't matter what it pays if it's not a good job for you, if the schedule doesn't work for you, if you can't take call, you know, those types of things. So look at those variables. So we are going to be posting our jobs and some other content on our Facebook page. We've just discovered that a lot of the resources that we use are a lot of recruiters, and we know that technologists and sonographers alike are getting beat up by employers and recruiters alike. There's tons of overseas recruiters that are calling these days. I mean, I'm hearing stories from numerous people about these, let's just say, foreign-based recruiting companies who are just hounding them to death. I had one sonographer tell me she got 8 calls in one day from the same recruiter, and they were all different numbers. So we realize that this is happening, and it hurts our engagement too. So when we have a legitimate job that we send out to someone and we're not getting a response, we know that's because you've probably received 10 recruiting solicitations already this week. So we just want to say thank you to you, the folks that have worked with us and the people who have trusted us, and the resources that we can offer you, of course, that are complimentary. You can call me anytime and just ask, hey, what do you think wages should be in this particular area? And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If it's not good, I'll tell you. If you're getting an offer from someone and you want to ask my opinion, give me a call. I mean, I don't mind sharing our data. I can pull up our comps basically. So we work kind of like a realtor works, but of course we're in the employment sector. But say, for example, if you get a job offer, we can pull up the last, say, 20 offers that we've had, say, in Texas, if that's where your job is. Say, hey, our last 20 jobs in Texas for CT Tech has been this. And that way you can take that information back and you can make a counter offer if you would like. Or if it's a good offer, we'll say, hey, that's a good offer. So anyway, I didn't mean to go 9 minutes on this video, but I did want to say thank you and address the whole compensation thing. Feel free to reach out anytime. Take a look at the jobs. Please, I would like you to subscribe to our Facebook page. It's going to be just very straightforward content as it relates to jobs and compensation and job search and those types of things. So please feel free to just hit us up on our Facebook page. There's a link down there below. And I really appreciate your time. And have a blessed evening. And I'll talk to you soon.